for the use and commit of all areas in accordance with the provisions of this Act, unquote. However, on the other hand, Section 12, subsection 1 of the same Act states, and I quote, "It shall be lawful for the governor to grant a license to any person to enter upon any land which is not the subject of a statutory right of occupancy or of mining lease, mining rights, or exclusive perspective license granted under Minerals Act or any other enactment, and remove or extract therefrom any stone, gravel, clay, sand, and other similar substance not being a mineral within the meaning assigned to that term in the Mineral Act that may be required for building or for the manufacture of building materials." End of quote. And now, when you now juxtapose this, they are giving it to you on one hand and collected it from the other hand. And so they have taken back everything that was actually given to the governor, and because by the Land Use Act, and that is why when oil is struck by the back of my house, the surface rights, the land belongs to me, but the oil inside of my land belongs to federal government. What meaningful and sustainable prosperity can we achieve when states are denied control over their own resources? When states who understand the needs of their people and the governors live with their people in their states. And this is not merely about economic development, it is also about social justice. When states thrive, I believe that Nigeria will also thrive. We are all aware of the ongoing conversation around the issue of autonomy, local government autonomy. My concern over this very sensitive subject is beyond the question of granting autonomy to local governments. I'm more concerned about the rationale for the creation of local governments. In a country where some states have 40-something local governments, and a state like mine has only 8 local government areas, and the resources garnered from my backyard is now taken to the center to share, according to local governments, is that social justice? Is that equity? The disparity arises because states with more local government receive the larger chunk of our own resources, regardless of their specific requirement or financial strength. Since the Constitution exclusively recognizes states and federal governments as federating units, the federal government's creation of local governments constitutes to me an aberration, undermining the principles of federalism and the autonomy of the states. The Constitution's clear delineation of federal and state powers renders the federal government's creation of local governments incongruous, as local government falls within the purview of state governments. My take in addressing this issue is enforcing state autonomy to create local governments, the number of local governments that they can cater for, and not a federal government creating local governments for states. And this will be very, very unique because it will meet the financial needs and the capacity of the state to fund their own local governments. Another contentious issue is the 13% derivation formula for oil-producing states, which is obviously, to my mind, 13% to the states, but 87% deprivation of the states. We firmly believe that God who blessed our lands with oil reserves did not intend our people to suffer environmental degradation without commensurate control of our land equivalent of the federal government. And then the regional governments is the equivalent of the state governments as we operate today. So in other words, his definition is saying that these powers are to be shared between the federal government and the state government, and each of them are independent. Now, in a report in the Guardian newspaper of December 1, 2023, published from a lecture titled, "If Federalism is the Answer, What is the Question?" Another authority in political science, Egosa Sagi, a professor of comparative politics and incumbent director of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, describes federalism as a system of government that combines regional autonomy, resource control, and participatory governance, allowing geopolitical zones to manage their resources and develop according to the unique needs within the framework of a unified polity. He submitted that federalism provides for the management of diversity and the promotion of inclusivity. And so because we are diverse people, we must all agree that as diverse as we are, the best form of government that we can practice is federalism. And that is why those founding fathers saw different forms of government. Unitary system of government was there, they never opted for it. They saw a confederal system of government, they never opted for it. But they opted for a federal system of government where each federating unit will have some degree of independence, will have to control their own resources and use them to develop themselves and also contribute to the center. So by this definition, I understand that to fully realize its objectives, the federal structure empowers its constituent units to exercise significant control over their human, economic, and natural resources. The autonomy enables the formulation and implementation of policies specifically tailored to the unique characteristics and developmental needs of such federating units. Because we are all in this country, and we cannot pretend that the needs of the people in the Niger Delta are the same with the needs of the people in far north in Sokoto. And so, because we are different people, our needs will be different. We are in different regions, our needs will be different. While in the far north they are talking about too much and excessive sunshine, about us, we are talking about too much rain. And now the water is heating up Bayelsa and the Niger Delta. And so whatever they are doing there is totally different from what I should do in Bayelsa State. This competitive balance not only maximizes local potentials, but also strengthens a broader national fabric. Considerations. Notwithstanding our rich cultures, abundant resources, and distinctive state strengths or regional strengths, our country has long wrestled with the bountiful promise of federalism, regrettably, without much success. For decades, the centralization of power has strangled the unique potential that lies within each geopolitical zone, that lies within each state, hindering a true economic renaissance. I must emphasize at this point that no state in Nigeria, I repeat, no state in Nigeria is disadvantaged in terms of natural and human resource. And I'll prove it. The bane has always been a faulty system that prioritizes federal allocation to states, which has discouraged innovations, discouraged growth, discouraged the development of this country. In the current structure of dependence at the center, every state depends at the center for allocation. Every month we all go cap in hand begging in the name of Federal Allocations Committee. Every state commissioner goes to Abuja to go and receive FAC allocation. So my question is that healthy for this country to develop? Well, the FAC allocations may solve some immediate problems. They may fill our coffers. They also drain our creativity, leaving us with a deficit of innovation of ideas and impede our forward momentum. Now, this other issue of fiscal federalism framework. This will ease the tensions that arise from the feeling of marginalization, as each state would have the autonomy to add its own challenges without undue interference from the center. Therefore, federalism in its ideal form is the key that unlocks the door to a prosperous, competitive, and self-sustaining Nigeria, where each federating unit in our own case, each federating state harnesses its strengths and cooperative advantage to spur economic renaissance. Afraid of losing grip of Nigeria or of holding Nigeria in its hands. It will become even more formidable if we practice the principles of federalism. And it will be better focused. The center can now concentrate on issues like foreign policy, defense, and currency. Today, our currency is gyrating. Whether it is reggae, it is dancing, I don't know. Yes, I don't know the kind of music it is dancing to. I believe that if the federal government is focused on these basic issues and allow the states, devolve power to the states, as it is in other federal systems of government, and the states handle, they will be better focused to handle the basic issues that are federal concern to all of us, and Nigeria will be better for it. Now, do we settle for stagnation or dare to reimagine our collective destiny, shedding the weight of outdated constraints to build a more just, inclusive, and vibrant nation worthy of our highest potentials? For instance, the clamor for state police has been a contentious issue for years, particularly in the face of unprecedented security challenges in this country. We are hearing from the north, even from our own place here, the east, and all across Nigeria. The kind of security challenges we are seeing today is truly unprecedented. And some people are saying, why should we allow state police? Oh, the state governors are going to use it against their political opponents. Even today, it is happening. Even today, the police that we have, anybody who has access to it uses it the other way. And so for me, outside this place, in other climes, even universities have their own police. So what are we talking about? That the whole federating unit does not have its own police. We have to think a second time. As the Chief Security Officer of my state, I have been brought out. Your Chief Security Officer is the governor of your state, His Excellency, Senator Doye Diri. However, I have either no inputs or at best the marginal inputs over the security, command and control structure of the federal security agencies. We are all witnesses to a situation in Lagos where the governor of Lagos interrogated a police sergeant or so, and the police sergeant politely informed him, Your Excellency, sir, I take my orders from Abuja. And that humbled His Excellency the Governor, who is the Chief Security Officer of Lagos State. And I believe that if some of these contradictions are addressed, our security situation will also be better for it. And we are witnesses to the recent local government elections in Rivers State. The melodrama that is playing out in Rivers State. And some people call it a home movie. Where our own number one security institution says that we are pulling out of a local government election which constitutionally is under the purview, control, command of the state government. Though the first duty of the Nigerian police is to secure lives and properties. And they said we are pulling out. That will be a discourse for another day. Notwithstanding the fact that we do not have control of the federal conventional security apparatus in my state, Bayelsa State, we have emerged as one of the safest states in Nigeria. Because we have created our own security outfit, which we have named the Community Safety Corps. And that organ is headed by a retired Brigadier General of the Nigerian Army, which has incorporated both our Bayelsa volunteers and our Bayelsa vigilante by law. It was sent to the State House of Assembly, and I assented to that law. So it was not just a policy, it is a law in my state that we have our own state security outfit. And this has led into the empowering and allowing our own youth and our residents to engage themselves. This has been effective in curbing crime and criminality in my state by monitoring their neighborhoods and gathering intelligence and providing immediate responses to incidents in collaboration with the conventional federal security agencies, which as a state government we always support. I know my brother who is representing the governor knows about that, because there is no federal security in any state that the state government don't support across Nigeria. But I know that very basically of my state. Because security is not one issue that you want to play with. Should the government fail in security, that government has failed. Because the number one duty of every government is the security of lives and property. Whereas we have done well, and lack of effective control continues to hinder our operations, there is no gainsaying that security, as I said, is the key even to economic development. Without security, you cannot do your business. Now, the other part of my lecture today is on economic renaissance. As I stressed earlier, no state in Nigeria is deficit in natural resources. I said I was going to come back to it, and here we are. In any case, ending Nigeria's reliance on oil is now totally inevitable, especially with the recent climate change deals in the Conference of Parties, which they have tagged COP28, and it continues every year, emphasizing the need for transition away from fossil fuels to cleaner energy. Although crude oil has defined our economic trajectory for decades, we must explore the wealth of other untapped resources that exists in our respective states. Each of Nigeria's federating units, that means in each state of Nigeria, every state possesses unique resource and attributes that can drive economic renaissance in their respective domains, if only we can practice and adopt the principles of federalism. And these include, but not limited to, A, granite, limestone, salt, glass, sand. They are found here in the southeastern states. Is that not correct? B, I'm demonstrating to you as to why every state in Nigeria has a resource base, natural resource base. B, gold, uranium. C, gold, limestone, granite. These are found in the western states of Nigeria. D, gemstone, marble, with arable land to grow several cash crops, food and industrial crops, as well as fruits, fisheries, and aquaculture that can drive the economy of various states. The economic renaissance we seek is not a dream. It is not far from us. It is within us here in Nigeria. Rather, it is within the grasp, and it is time to embrace the vision and forge a new path, one where every federating state can stand tall, secure in its ability to generate wealth, create jobs, and contribute meaningfully to the collective prosperity of our dear nation. Technological innovations can only come if the states are truly federal. The decentralized structure would allow the geopolitical zone to make policies that attract international investors, establish functional export zones, and leverage their proximity to the Atlantic Ocean for shipping and trade. Let me give an example. In a well-structured federal system of government, states can form mutually beneficial partnerships, leveraging their unique strengths to boost economic growth. This collaborative approach allows states to capitalize on their comparative advantages, just as we have the comparative advantage of oil and gas. In Bayelsa could supply gas to power the industries in the southern eastern states, while those states utilize Bayelsa's seaports, creating a win-win situation. And this energy can be replicated across various states in Nigeria, and that will unlock very numerous opportunities for cooperation, going hand in hand. To fact, we are not looking at these opportunities that are found in our land. With what we are doing in Bayelsa State. In my second tenure, we have now had an acronym. When we refer this to be as short, ASSURED, the Assured Prosperity Agenda. We have done so much. Those of you who have the lecture, you will see, but I won't go into it. I'll just give you the meaning. The A there stands for Agricultural Revolution and Marine blue economy. The S stands for sports and youth development. And the other S there stands for security and peace. The U stands for urban renewal and rural development. And finally, the R stands for a robust health delivery system. The details are contained in the lecture. Sorry, the E stands for energy generation. And you know this is one area that over the years, our unitary system of government has denied the states of. Generation and distribution of energy were all in the exclusive list. In other words, no state government can generate electricity and distribute it. It is only the federal government. And those are the issues about our federalism. It is only until recently that the new president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, came and signed that bill into law. So now state governments can generate and distribute electricity. And as soon as that is done, knowing what the federal system is, I immediately presented a government bill to the State House of Assembly to domesticate the law for the federal government, because the National Assembly does not make laws for state governments. And that is why we have the various houses of the assembly. And so today, Bayelsa is among the first states that have domesticated that law that was signed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, all these are about our short agenda, and I don't want to bore you with them. And so, we move on. Most times, governors of the Niger Delta, the oil-producing states, are always queried, what have you done with your 13%? What have you done with the derivation fund of 13%? Well, for those of you who are familiar with our terrain, to build 1 kilometer of road in that terrain, you can build about 10 kilometers in a month. Of course. That is how our terrain is. We are not complaining, because God who put us there also put the oil and gas there for us. And so when these questions come, we know what we are doing with our 13%. But I also will want to ask, what has been done with the 87% deprivation fund? The oil producing states that have the resource has 13%. You, that's the federal government up there, has 87%. Can we truly say in Nigeria, over the years, we are not querying the current government now, over the years they have been collecting 87%. What have they done with the 87%? Building a new federal framework in this country requires a multifaceted approach that empowers each state to reach its full potential. This can be achieved through devolution of power, which means that states will exercise more autonomy to make decisions and take actions that cater to their unique needs. By doing so, states can address local issues more effectively and foster innovation and promote internal development. Another crucial aspect is fiscal autonomy, enabling states to generate and manage their resources as well as make financial decisions that align with their priorities. This includes collecting and allocating revenue, investing in infrastructure, and providing essential services to their citizens. As it stands today, if what I am trying to say here is acceptable, and the 87% of what the federal government has been collecting over the years is accruable to Bayelsa State. Even Dubai will not be better than Bayelsa State. So what I advocate for here is a significant departure from the past, so that we can practice an authentic federalism in Nigeria. And this also dovetails into the issues of elections. Our Nigerian electoral process is again totally centralized. And today, people are even advocating that the state electoral commission should equally be taken over by the INEC. I mean, this is not the principle of federalism. I'd like to show you some times where federalism is being practiced that we copied from. In the United States, for instance, state and local election officials manage their elections. Federal Election Commission, which is the equivalent of our own independent electoral commission, oversees campaign, finance, and federal laws. But the state has a Supreme Court. They call them Supreme Courts there, and they handle electoral disputes in the states. In Germany, Federal Election Committee oversees federal elections. State Election Committee manage state and local elections. Constitutional Court handles federal election disputes. In Australia, the Australian Electoral Commission oversees federal elections. The state and territory electoral commissions manage state and local elections. And the state Supreme Courts handle electoral disputes, with a few cases, very few cases, going to the Supreme Court of that country. In Canada, Elections Canada oversees federal elections. Provincial and territorial election management bodies handle provincial and territorial elections. Provincial and territorial courts handle electoral disputes. In Switzerland, these are all federal countries. They are countries that operate federalism, which our own country is set to be operating. Federal Chancery oversees federal elections. Cantonal election authorities manage cantonal and municipal elections. Cantonal courts handle electoral disputes. In Nigeria, disputes between the husband and wife, chieftaincy disputes between one family and the other family ends up where? Supreme Court. Thank you. You said it. So, if we are also practicing federalism, then these are very good examples for us as a country. And the benefits are enormous. The benefits to us as a country. It will increase state control and accountability by making particularly the institutions of state very strong. More efficient electoral dispute resolution. The strong institutions will provide checks and balances to the respective state governments. By doing so, we will unlock our comparative potential, unleashing innovation and entrepreneurship. The choice is clear. Continue with a centralized system of government as we are practicing today, or embrace federalism. Some people say true federalism. And so I'd like us to reflect on the profound words of a British author C.S. Lewis. in his book titled Mere Christianity. And I quote, "We all want progress, but progress means getting nearer to the place where you want to be. And if you have taken a wrong turning, then to go forward does not get you any nearer. If you are on the wrong road, progress means doing an about turn and walking back to the right road. And in that case, the man who turns back soonest is the most progressive man. We are on the wrong road, and if that is so, we must go back. Nigeria indeed is on the wrong road, and so we must go back." I urge us all to embrace this journey towards a new Nigeria, where each state's progress is the nation's progress. Let us build systems that support our collective dreams, leaving petty comparisons behind. In closing, I paraphrased the great Emperor Haile Selassie of Ethiopia in his address to the United Nations General Assembly, delivered on the 6th of October 1963, and this was popularized by Bob Marley in his song "Until the Philosophy," that holds in his own case he said one race, but here I have said one tribe, region, or religion, superior, another inferior, is finally and permanently discredited and abandoned. There will be no economic renaissance. We must embrace this truth and recognize the unity and respect for one another are fundamental to our nation's progress. Only then can we foster an environment of peace and collaboration, essential for our collective growth and economic renaissance. Thank you all.
It's too short. But it's okay.
Thank you very much for that, Quincy. Thank you very much. That was something totally befitting of the 64th.
Choice. Which? Season.
Even with it wasn't waiting for me to exactly.
With a special tribute to Professor Sam Ojukwu. Professor Sam Ojukwu, one who composed the University of Nigeria song, which we played earlier. It's a song that every alumni of the University of Nigeria connects with. Every alumnus of the University of Nigeria or alumni connects with that song. It's very special. And our own Department of Music has prepared to perform a musical tribute titled Tetanora, which is quite relevant to what His Excellency said today. Let's wake up from your slumber. So may I invite the Department of Music to do that special number. Thank you. The song you just listened to, the tribute, was conducted by Reverend Dr. Izuchukwu Ewulu. Thank you very much. As you know, Professor Sam Ojukwu passed in May this year, and that's why they thought it appropriate to perform that song in his. We owe him quite a lot. Just in case you do not know, the University of Nigeria song was composed by Sam Ojukwu as as a class assignment when he was still a student here at the University of Nigeria. I hope that so there is some light refreshment going on, but I've received the chairman's permission to switch into the second lecture. And please, I invite the University of Professor Elsie Mano to come forward and read the citation on the man without a title, Sonny Nikky-H. Please an applause for that.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is one citation that will not be easy for anybody to do. A citation on a well-traveled, dynamic, solid, seasoned, versatile, very accomplished man, a colossus in the administrative, leadership, and governmental fields. Born in the late 50s, Sonny finished his secondary education in 1974. He immediately got admission to the University of Nigeria and Nsukka to read zoology. He finished in 1978, and from 1986 to 1988, he was in Roosevelt University, Chicago, Illinois, USA, where he obtained his master's in business administration, specializing in international finance and marketing. Roy T. Bennett once said, "If you have a strong purpose in life, you don't have to be pushed. Your passion will push you." Nikky-H's passion for leadership, management, and administration pushed him to enroll and obtain in 2016 the executive certificate course from the University of Chicago Booth School of Business, USA, which was basically for leading organizational change. He also enrolled for the public-private partnership program conducted by RIPA London, UK. He took the relationship management course at Irving Trust Bank, New York, now Bank of New York. He also took the advanced treasury management course at DC Gardner Training Outfit, London. The lion from the UNN then, who started as a zoologist, became a banking mastodon. He has proved to be an experienced professional with a strong background in finance, investment promotion, and economic advisory. This connoisseur in administration and finance has a proven track record of achieving results in less than record time. He is highly skilled in project finance, infrastructure consulting, and international relations. Nikky-H has a unique and enviable understanding of leadership. He is a blockbuster leader who has chosen to go without titles. He is very much of the same opinion with James Lawrence, who advised that in a world where titles often overshadow the essence of one's role, it is crucial to remember that leadership is not just a position or a title. It is a behavior, a series of actions that collectively define the impact one has on his team and organization. Ladies and gentlemen, Nikky-H has a very impressive career history and experience. He has held many leadership positions in and outside Nigeria. Just from 2022 to 2023 alone, this administrative and leadership crackerjack became the senior academic visitor at the African Studies Center of the University of Oxford, United Kingdom. On this position, he conducted research on diplomatic and economic relations between Nigeria and South Africa, focusing on the two leading economies in Africa. He delivered lectures on the power sector in Africa, conferences and seminars on foreign policy formulation. Precisely in 2023, he was a guest lecturer, joint executive MBA classes, London Business School, and Columbia University, New York. He was appointed as a special advisor to the Board of Governors of African Leadership Institute. Just very recently, this leadership group was appointed to the selection committee of the Rhodes Scholarship for West Africa. This is for scholarship considerations for those aged 18 to 20 years for master's and doctorate degrees in the University of Oxford. A fearless, courageous, and forthright dynamo, Iroche held positions as director of member of different boards. Very few of them that have to do with education include member, Nigeria National Artificial Intelligence, that is the strategy committee. Member, UNESCO Technical Working Group on AI Readiness, Assessment Methodology, right? Member, Board of Governors, Premier Academy, Abuja. Member, Board of Trustees, Book Aid for Africa, United Kingdom. The whiskey Iroche actually became globally visible in his field of endeavor quite early. Between 1991 and 1993, he had crisscrossed many continents while serving as member of the different foreign economic delegations to different continents and countries of the world. New York, Germany, South Africa, Israel. Ladies and gentlemen, Sonny Iroche is not a celestial being. He is human. He is married with children. However, this man mountain in the academic, administrative, leadership and governance fields and in other econo-political social spheres is really and truly a man of many parts. In Iroche, we find a sweet combination of power, dynamism, commitment, respect, creativity, and humility. He is just a man whose achievements can best be described as Brodinadian or monumental. And now, Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of Governing Council UNN, Senator General Omar Zanda Wachugu, Chairman of the 64th Founders Day celebrations, Acting Vice Chancellor of UNN, Governor of Bayelsa State, Present and past commissioners and government officials of Enugu State and elsewhere, ladies and gentlemen, lions and lionesses, the Acting Vice Chancellor of UNN has given me the singular privilege and honor to present to you our keynote lecturer, this great lion from this day, an accomplished gentleman, a colossus in administration, the crackerjack leader without idols, Sonny Imani Iroche. I now respectfully invite you to step forward and take the microphone.
When the orator was introducing me, I wondered who she was talking about.
I told you.
was looking right there for the So I will not stand on the existing protocol. I will not. I will try my best to recognize as many worthy and great lions and lionesses. I will. I'll start by, I don't know how protocol really works, but a man after my heart, whom I tried to tailor my young life after, but I could not, because he is and was the great Sikh of Africa. His wife is here, Dr. Uche. That's it.
I'm married to self.
Apologies, because I'm not used to title. So, and Professor Uche always said to me, don't mind them. The coach does not make the banker. That does not make. Okay. The Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of the Governing Council of the University of Nigeria, Senator General Ike Omasanda Machubu, the Acting Vice Chancellor, Professor Polycarp Chibu, Honorable Council members of the University of Nigeria, Deputy Vice Chancellors, leadership of the university, principal officers,